Good morning, students. I hope some of you have watched the quarter final between Belgium and Italy. Italy won the match defeating Belgium. In front of you, a big stadium is shown. This is not a modern stadium. This is an ancient stadium. We call it Colosseum. It was constructed in Rome and it exists till now. This is a part of an ancient civilization named Roman civilization. The Roman civilization flourished in the country named Italy. One of the powerful nations of the ancient period. Now let us see, where is Italy? Italy, you can see the Italy here. This is Italy. This is Italy. This is Mediterranean Sea. This is Atlantic Ocean. This is Mediterranean Sea. This is known as Strait of Gibraltar. It's Morocco and Spain. This Mediterranean Sea, it moves from like this, comes, and here you can see Red Sea is there. It is here Red Sea, connecting Indian Ocean and Mediterranean Sea. That is Red Sea. And there is a Suez Canal is constructed, a human constructed area is the Suez Canal. They have seen that one ship was blocked there during the first class days. So this is Austria, this is Switzerland, France, Germany, England, Spain, all these countries, they are the neighbors of Italy, Greece, you can see. So this is a present day Italy. This Italy has really fully came into existence as it is in 1870. That's what we must understand. This is the present president of Italy. In 1815, when Vienna Congress had gathered together in Austria, at that time you see this was the most important power. Austria, Vienna. So at that time they had divided the kingdoms and given back to those kings who were ruling prior to 1879. That is the starting of French Revolution. So like this. Now Austria is a very small country and that is very powerful, very strong. Ottoman Empire, Greece and all areas were ruled by Ottoman Empire. This is Mediterranean Sea, you can see. This is Sardinia. See here again. This is a map around 1848. Naples, or kingdoms of two Sicilies, it was known as Sicily. Greece. So kingdoms of two Sicilies, Tuscany, Sardinia, here Piedmont and all other kingdoms. Here, this is Tuscany is here, Piedmont, this areas. This is a papal estate. In this papal estate comes the Rome also. Rome is the capital of modern Italy, and it was the capital of ancient Italy also. So, but this area, that is including Rome, was under the control of Pope. Pope was a ruler in that area. He was a religious head, but he was having this much area to rule. This much area was being ruled by Pope. That is the situation. Pope's age. So when the unification of Germany has taken place, Rome was declared as the capital of Italy, and Pope was given a small area. His palace and his surrounding area was given to him, that included 108 acres of land. If we consider it is around 1/4 of the Science School campus. And that Vatican is considered to be an independent kingdom or independent country at present. Italy is not interfering in the day-to-day administration of the Vatican City. Security is provided to it because it is inside a Roman city. Yes, naturally something happens to Vatican, it will affect Rome. So security of Vatican is done by Italy. It is an Italian country, inside Italy, Italian capital itself, 105 acres of land. But government of Italy would not interfere in the day-to-day administration of Vatican City. All the decisions are taken by Pope. That's the papal state. Now we will see the persons who have worked behind the unification of Italy. First one is Victor Emmanuel. You can see he is the main figure. Victor Emmanuel II. Victor Emmanuel II is the king of Sardinia, and he takes the lead to unify Italy. He was having a prime minister or a chief minister named Count Cavour. So Count Cavour, along with the king, like a Bismarck of Germany, worked together and unified Italy. These two members were supported by Giuseppe Mazzini and Garibaldi. Mazzini was a revolutionary leader who had founded Young Italy, Young Europe, etc., giving ideological support, working to bring Italy as a unified democratic nation. That was Mazzini. Once upon a time, Mazzini was chased out of Italy because he was supporting the revolutionary ideas. But he comes back and he supports the unification of Italy. Then Garibaldi, a person who was working for a revolutionary government, who wanted to have a democratic revolutionary government in Italy, organized military members or members who are ready to fight for it. But later, he also had to support Victor Emmanuel for the unification of Italy. So that is what we are seeing that for important leaders. Italy, one side it was done by Habsburg Empire. Many areas of Italy was under control of Habsburg Empire. It was divided into 7 states. You can see that 7 states. You can see these are the 7 areas. See here, this one. This was another area. It was under hands of Austrian-Hungarian Empire. This also. This is another. Then Papal State, 2 Sicilies. So these areas. So it was divided into under control of different kingdoms. Sardinia Piedmont was ruled by an Italian princely house. As we have seen, the king of that one is Victor Emmanuel. The northern part of Italy that we have seen already, those areas, Sardinia, etc., where Tuscany, etc., were in the control of Austria. Center was ruled by Pope, I have shown you already. South was ruled by the kings of Spain. Spanish rulers were controlling. Bourbons of Spain. They were controlling. So it was already surrounded. So it was very difficult for Sardinian king Victor Emmanuel to get control of it. And only one straw he got. That is a language. Italian language. Even that language a problem also. Language had its variations in different areas. You know, Karnataka has got different language variations. If you go to southern Karnataka, language is different. If you come to northern Karnataka, language is different. Alphabet is same, but the tone of speech, the use of the words and its meaning that comes out from the words of word is little different. So in all the world languages are having this problem, and Italy also had that problem. So bringing together all the Italian speaking people was very difficult, and many of the people were not knowing what is Italia. Many thought Italia means the name of the wife of King Victor Emmanuel. They thought it is La Talia. La Talia expected that Talia was said to be the name of Victor Emmanuel, but that was not really her name. But people thought like that, hearing the word Italian. Even Count Cavour was not excellent in speaking Italian language. He was very good in speaking French language. You see, a person who is not expert in the language itself is trying to unify Italy. That is what we must understand. Here you see Tuscany, Venetia. You see here, this is Venetia, Tuscany, all these areas. Parma, these are Milan, Inter Milan clubs are there, no? Milan, Lombardy, Milan, all those areas. This is a part of Sardinia. These are areas ruled by Pope, Papal State, Naples, all those Sicilies. This area was controlled by Bourbon kings of Spain. Spain is here below this, we can see Spain. So that is. So Giuseppe Mazzini formed a secret society to unify Italy, called Young Italy, secret society, because government was not supporting it. So that is speciality of Giuseppe Mazzini. So in 1831 there are people movements where in 1831 under leadership of Mazzini they tried to remove and bring together the people together and have a kingdom. But in 1831 they could not remove the king. 1848 also they could not remove the king. So Giuseppe Mazzini is losing his grip. Then comes up Count Cavour. So Count Cavour belonged to the elite group of people, means educated, highly influenced people, and who are so much ambitious. So those group of people, they wanted a political dominance. You see, political dominance, administrative capacity. So when they want a political dominance, they thought it is better to unify Italy, so that when I am becoming powerful, I can ask. So Count Cavour led the unification of Italy. This fellow, Count Cavour, was neither a revolutionary nor a democrat. He was not ready to share the power or anything. He joined the movement only to get influence, political influence and everything. But he was highly educated. And he was expert in a French language than Italian. I have already told you. That is this. This fellow had a tactful diplomatic relationship with then Chancellor of Germany named Bismarck. We have already discussed it. Bismarck wanted to unify Germany. So Bismarck was never tried to treat or never ready to treat Sardinian king or Sardinian prime minister as equal as him. So whenever Sardinia wanted a help, Sardinia asked Prussia, mainly some part of Italy was under the control of Austria. Austria was a powerful empire at that time. Being a powerful and a strong nation, Austria was very strong and very difficult to be defeated. Since it was very difficult to be defeated, what to do was the thinking of Count Cavour. He was supported by Garibaldi and Mazzini. Then the information came, or the message has come from Bismarck. Bismarck is ready to help. The agreement is Bismarck is ready to help, so that Bismarck will be helped some other time. Bismarck would help to defeat Austria. So simultaneous attack has taken place on Austria. From one side Italy, other side Prussia. Austria was defeated. But Bismarck did not take even a piece of land from the control of Austria. Permitted Italy to take some areas. The areas Sardinia and Piedmont. Piedmont, there is an area near to it. For Sardinia and Piedmont, some areas were given. Tuscany was given. So naturally, Count Cavour was bound to support Prussia when it was necessary. So when Austria was attacked, Bismarck had taken care that France would not support Austria. Prussian demand was to defeat France. That was the main aim of Bismarck. So now other areas of Italy was attacked by Mazzini and Garibaldi. Mazzini inspiring the people, and those areas who were not ready to be joined were attacked by Sardinian army supported by Garibaldi. All other areas except the papal area, Sicilies were attacked. All other areas, Naples, all other areas of Italy were attacked and conquered except the areas ruled by Pope, because Pope was protected by France. France was a strong power at that time. Pope's soldiers were French soldiers were guarding Pope's territory. So after so much of deliberations, Bismarck planned an attack on France. By his diplomatic effort, he had made Austria to be neutral, not to support France. Because when Austria was attacked, France did not support. So naturally it was easy for Bismarck to get the support of Austria, or to be neutral. And as I told you, Napoleon was instigated, and Louis Napoleon attacked Prussia. And Louis Napoleon thought it would be very easy, but Prussia had all kind of preparations to defeat France. So when the war started between Prussia and France, Sardinian Piedmont forces attacked the Papal State. So it has become a headache for Louis Napoleon, because he had guaranteed the protection of Pope. Now he had to take his soldiers to fight against Prussia. So he had no choice. He had to give up the kingdom or protection of Pope. Sardinian Piedmont forces under leadership of Garibaldi captured Pope's area in 1870. And unification of complete Italy came to an end. Except Papal State, all other areas were unified in 1861. And Victor Emmanuel was declared the Emperor of Italy in 1871. That is unification of Italy. The last declaration, or the official declaration, is 1871, 1861. Except Papal State, all other areas were brought under the control of Sardinian Piedmont. Here you must understand, Garibaldi, who was not at all happy to have a kingship, had to accept. There is a beautiful cartoon given in our textbook. Garibaldi tying the lace of Victor Emmanuel. Unhappily, he has to do it because he is supporting the kingship. He had no other option. That is what we see in the unification of Germany. Thank you.